So thank you, Michael, for joining us. We're going to hear a little bit more about Psycho 360. So Psycho 360 has been in the market since about Q2, I think, last year. So tell us how it's going so far.
So it's gone tremendously. Fiscal 23 was a great year for us. In those 3 quarters, we did over 7 million in bookings. It's actually one of the top 5 products in the company in those 3 quarters. We signed over 125 customers. We're really seeing just a tremendous uptake within the customer base.
So why is it doing so well? So what's really resonating with our customers?
So when we originally designed it, we knew that we had to address just a wide range of customers, right? Every customer is different, every solution partner is different, every MarTech stack is different. So the flexibility and the resiliency we designed into the program has really resonated with customers. So it's done really, really well.
Okay, so I mean, now you're saying it's really resonated with customers. When we think about kind of the growth aspirations that we have for FY24, what does that look like?
We want to double the business and more than double the business in fiscal 24. We're really seeing a great opportunity for growth. We're looking at 15% attach rate in fiscal 24. So for everybody out there, that gives you a sense of what to expect and what to shoot for. We already have more than 30 million in pipeline in fiscal 24, just really tremendous opportunity. I think the best thing though is we're looking at upwards of 500 customers by the end of the year. It's going to be very instrumental and just very deeply ingrained in our engagement with customers going forward.
That will probably make it one of the fastest growing products I think we've ever launched in Psycho. Huh?
Absolutely. By our calculations, it's one of the best, if not the best, of all time, and it's already top 5 within the company.
So we think then, we went through Q2, Q3, and then in Q4, you launched 2 new versions for us in Psycho 360, various sort of different variations, which now, we'll have in place for the whole of FY24. Can you just walk us through those different versions?
Absolutely. For those of you who don't remember or haven't seen, we added 2 new SKUs. We have 3 SKUs altogether now. The basic SKU, which is our standard, is 20% of ARR. Hopefully everyone's familiar with it. But it includes 24/7 support, includes subscriptions to learning, it includes our expert services. So that's our basic level of options. We have a Plus, which is our 30% of ARR. That one adds Assure services, which is our really broad spectrum of engagement and consultant activities for our customers. And then we have Pro, which is really designed for our larger customers. It's also at the 30% ARR pricing, but it brings our technical account managers into the equation. So really, we've seen tremendous impact on NPS when we bring TAMs into the equation, and it's really what we recommend for all of our biggest customers.
So now when we think about, and we've talked in parts today about the customer lifecycle overall, and we think about how to engage customers throughout that lifecycle. How does Psycho 360 fit into that ethos that we're portraying from a go-to-market perspective?
So one of the things we heard from customers, because now that we've been in market for a while, we really are starting to get some real feedback. And I think the number one thing we heard was they want us to be there from day one, right? They see us as being part of that entire experience from the very first day. So particularly in the SaaS world, that's a really important concept, to be in there with the customer from the very beginning of onboarding. And so when you look at that life cycle, from onboarding to implementation, to adoption, to expansion, to renewal, we have the offerings really are tailored to be able to have the right service at the right time and really help those customers throughout that entire sequence.
So then when customers then think about the engagement, of course, before we get to contract signature or actually the onboarding process, there's quite a lot of work that goes on obviously to capture customers or to capture customers with new product. How should we be positioning that from a much bigger picture perspective?
Well, I think we have to remember that we set a lot of expectations with customers during the sale. The pre-sales organization really thinks about, what's the value that we can generate, right? The value engineering team puts together these value maps that really communicate what that value looks like. And I think what we're finding is that we need to carry that all the way through to the end of the customer experience. So part of what we're doing with 360 in fiscal 24 is we have a much more comprehensive layer of engagement for customers that takes those value maps, right, the promises of value, figures out a path to generate that value, and incorporates that into the overall experience. So it means hundreds of different activities that are sequenced and aligned to the different products that customers buy. And we've already had tremendous response to it. We're piloting it in a few customers now, but we expect it to be across the entire portfolio, across all of our customers that are in 360 by the end of fiscal 24.
That's fantastic. So when you think about some of the lessons learned from FY23, what are you going to think about when you go to market for FY24?
So learning from the successes we had in some geos in fiscal 23, there's really three things that everyone needs to understand about fiscal 24. First is make sure you attach on every single deal from the very beginning. We've seen the most success when it's there from the very first interaction with a customer. Second, make sure you're bringing it up at every renewal. Renewals are the perfect time to introduce this, and we've seen a lot of success there. And then third, you want to be thinking about anywhere that there's a moment of change in the customer, the places where we traditionally might have introduced services, now's the time to introduce 360 instead.
So thank you, Michael. I think from what we hear from you, that Cycle 360 component is going to be really the foundation that gives us every right to go back and resell. We create the adoption, we create the consumption, and that's really the heartbeat of that customer lifecycle. So thank you for giving us some of the insight, and we look forward to hearing more as part of the enablement.
Thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to fiscal 24.
Likewise, thank you.
Thank you.